Warning, if you don't like spoilers, do not watch the video.
Recording. Check, check. 1, 2. Check, 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 check. Sean?
Yeah.
Alright, yep, we're good.
And welcome to our little series, Quick Take.
Wait, what?
And welcome
What?
to Quick Take.
Fucking Christ, every time it's just me and you, there's some fucking blooper in the beginning.
Oh, were you recording?
Yes, I was recording. That's getting left in. Hi, welcome to Some Film Snobs. I'm Jacob Ramos.
I'm Sean Reinert.
And welcome to episode 2 of our series Quick Take. I know it's been a while, yeah. I'll better summarize it this time. Premise of the series, movies we heard a lot about but didn't either see or a channel didn't exist at the time that we really wanted to talk about. Here we go, welcome to Quick Take. So, Sean, what movies have you seen lately, or have we seen lately that we wanted to have a discussion about?
Well, both you and I, obviously on our own, watched Hereditary, The Witch, and A Ghost Story. Hereditary was last year.
Hereditary was... No, I think that was like in the summer.
Was it summer?
I think it came out in the summer. But like those are the main 3 movies we're gonna be talking about. But I've been seeing a lot of movies recently.
Yeah, he's seen a lot more than I have.
And these are gonna get more little truncated more truncated discussion than we'll get on Hereditary, The Witch, and A Ghost Story. But I recently saw First Man. I saw Beautiful Boy. And I saw Widows, and then recently, about an hour ago, I saw Nocturnal Animals, which I loved so much that I feel the need to throw it in. But just to vary it up.
He's talking about 7 films, and I'm only talking about 3, basically.
Well, just to vary it up, and so it's not boring. We'll do discussion on the movies that we both saw, and then we'll just throw in my mini review, and then in between of the other ones. So, Sean, which of the 3 would you like to start with?
Well, I have it in a specific order on my notes thing. So, do you want to start up with Hereditary?
Oh, sure.
Sometimes I swear I can feel them in the room.
Oh my God! What's that?
She isn't gone.
So, Jacob, what are your thoughts on Hereditary?
Hereditary, I think, is a fantastically dreadful movie. Alright, I think the first 2 acts of the movie are way better than well, actually, I won't even say better than the third. I'd just say the ending is kind of like...
Specifically the ending.
Specifically the ending... How am I going to say this without going into spoilers? Alright, so I feel like the first 2 acts of the movie focused a lot on the horrors of mental health and...
Losing a child. Yeah,
losing a child, mourning, and the emotional turmoil and difficulty and horror, as it's a horror film, that come with that. As well as abuse from, like, struggling with parental abuse from your past. And then I feel like in the ending it ditched all those fantastic themes, in favor of a more like conventional horror twist, where
it's like one of those endings where I would say it either makes or breaks the film for you.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I don't know, it didn't break it, but it didn't make it for me. I guess I'm in between that.
Like, I had to rewatch that ending multiple times because first time I watched it, I was like, "What the fuck did I just watch?"
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought it was a bad dream or something.
It felt really over the top compared to the rest of the movie. Like the rest of the movie was genuinely horrifying, but then when I felt like it got to the ending, it was just like it just devolved into like typical horror trope where it's like, it's possessed and there's a demon and this stuff.
What's great is that it had a good balance of, balancing supernatural and real life horrors. you know.
Well, actually, now I'm thinking about it. I think we might disagree here. So, do you like the you like the supernatural stuff that was in there?
Some of it was really great.
All right. Because I actually thought like all the real stuff was what kept it really good, and then like I felt like when they introduced all the supernatural, it kind of lost me for a little.
I am gonna say the real stuff is better.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, like, the supernatural stuff on top of that. I just like the way they handled it.
Okay.
It's not like, I mean, until the ending, it's not super in your face about it, if that makes any sense.
It is subtle, yeah. It's not like whoa, like it's nothing crazy.
Yeah, like I actually really like the chalkboard scene.
Oh yeah.
When they're trying to get the daughter's spirit to like talk to them.
Oh my god, that was just crazy.
And the tension around that between, you know, the mother, you know, basically going nuts, and the father and the brother, mixed with some sort of deep supernatural element, just like, it blends perfectly. And there's not really a clear way for me to describe it. It's just something you kind of have to sit there and just experience.
Yeah. So like, I guess for me, it's more like thematically it lost me. It never lost me in terms of the direction of the story. It just lost me in terms of how I thought it was about one thing, and it turns out it's about another. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was about mental health and mourning and abuse, but it turns out it's more so about Hereditary. Actually, now that I think about it, it's about Hereditary.
It's literally called Hereditary.
Yeah.
But I actually do think there's still, you know, those themes in there of mental health and stuff like that. That twist and the way they handled the twist with the I forget the older lady's name.
I don't know her name either.
But I just like the way they handled the twist. Like, because as I was watching it, I felt like there was something off with her, but I wasn't 100% sure. Like, I knew something was going to happen. And then when it happened, it still kind of, you know, surprised me, because it was just kind of like, that wasn't what I was thinking at all. Like, but that was mostly because I didn't know exactly what to expect. Even though I was sort of expecting a twist around a point. Like, do you know what I'm getting at? You ever had that feeling?
It's a little hard for me because I haven't seen the movie in a while, but
Same.
I can catch your vibe. There is one thing, though, I will comment on this movie about how it's shot. This movie says "fuck you" to shot reverse shot.
Yeah.
Or like everything is very wide, I guess. Where there's no cutting between two people, like hi cuts the other person, hi. Like they pretty much set it, like they block the scene so that you can usually see both actors, and then they just have them act in an open space, which I actually liked, because I'm one of those people where I say fuck shot reverse shot. I kind of hate it, to be honest. Yeah. And that's one thing I really liked about the movie.
Every composition felt like it had a purpose, and it served a purpose, and it did it well.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna talk more about cinematography when we get to another movie, but all right, let's move on. I guess we'll go to one of mine. So I saw First Man.
The vehicle's not safe.
We need to fail. We need to fail down here so we don't fail up there.
Please let the light that shines on me. Neil, everyone's in agreement. We'd like you to command. Shine on the one I love.
Which is the movie about Neil Armstrong, starring Ryan Gosling.
The moon landing never happened.
No, it was.
Take that out of context, somebody.
It wasn't like the greatest movie that it was like marketed as, but it was very it was very emotional, and like it doesn't deal with the missions themselves to the moon. It's more so about the emotional struggle that Neil Armstrong went through, and how much the guy had to how much shit he had to deal with when he was trying to carry out this mission, and who he was really doing it for, because I guess we frame it as Americans, and like in the media we frame it as like an American accomplishment, right? As like a big American pride thing that we were on the moon. But in the film they frame it in a way where like Ryan Gosling, he could give two fucks about the greater national patriotic pride it brought. He was doing it more so for people who were close to him. And I want to avoid spoilers because it's very powerful, but it's a good movie.
There's not really a spoiler though, because they land on the moon.
No, well, like there's spoilers for other stuff in the movie.
Oh, there is?
Yeah, there is.
Well, obviously, but
it's a really good film though. One person I do want to bring up. This is Raw, so I need to look her up because holy shit, she should definitely win a Best Supporting Actress for her role.
Really? I'm trying to think of the person in my head, and I can't.
Claire Foy.
Oh yeah,
Claire Foy. She plays Neil Armstrong's wife in the film. Holy fuck! If this girl does not win Best Supporting Actress, the Academy's fucked. Like, people already don't give a shit about the Academy.
They've been fucked for a while, Jacob.
Yeah, I know, but
there's no turning back.
She was fantastic. She was like the best actor in that movie by far.
I'm gonna have to watch it. There is one thing.
It's I will say about the movie, the pacing. It's not one of those movies that you want to watch multiple times. Even though it is really good, it's kind of like one of those where it's like, I don't really want to watch it again.
I actually sort of got that vibe from the trailer.
Yeah.
Like, there was something about it where I was just like, I'm only gonna watch this once, and then if it's on TV and somebody else has it on in the background, it's gonna be one of those kind of movies.
Yeah. Well, like,
which is not bad all the time, by the way.
I'd say like it's not. You don't have to watch it multiple times, but I do think it is worth watching. Especially the sequences that they do when he's actually like in the spaceships and he's like controlling. They make those really intense. Those are really well done.
There's one thing I want to ask, and this was a not really a political controversy, but more of an historical controversy. Do you think there was any liberties? Like, were you personally not really a fan of some of the personal liberties? Like
I heard about the flag thing. Or is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, did it inhibit the film in any way?
No, it actually didn't. Because like, after watching it, I'd understand it. Because like as I said, the movie didn't make it about a symbol of national pride. It made it about what this meant to Neil Armstrong and what it meant that he had done this for the people that meant a lot to him. So like it made a lot of sense that it wasn't in the movie. Like the flag is there in a wide shot. They show a wide shot when they're on the moon and the flag is there. They just don't make it a point of emphasis that they stuck the flag in.
See, that's what I was gonna bring up because I was thinking, they probably do have a shot like that, and I was thinking maybe it was one of those things people blew out of proportion because maybe they didn't get the context of what the film was trying to achieve.
Yeah, maybe.
And yes, even though it's not emphasized and technically, and actually, no, now you say that, it's not even technically wrong because the flag is still there.
Yeah, the flag is still there.
So, wow, it's literally a controversy that came out of nothing.
It's like when people give games zeros on Metacritic when they haven't played the game. Like, watch the movie first before you comment on anything. So, all right.
I was just curious about that.
Yeah. It's a good question because I know I remember a few weeks back you were talking about that and how that might be a thing. But all right, what's the next film, Sean?
The Witch.
Oh God, my Lord, I now begin. Oh, help me and don't leave my sin. For I repentant thou shalt be. From evil I will turn to thee. None ever shall destroy my faith. For I repentant thou shalt be. Oh God, my Lord, I now begin. Oh, help me and don't leave my sin. For I repentant thou shalt be. From evil I will turn to thee.
So, what are your thoughts on The Witch? Because I know you really like this movie.
Yeah, I really like this movie. This one I felt like, how like last time when we were talking about It Follows, how you can feel, like, through the screen, you can feel the John Carpenter influence.
Yeah.
With this movie, you can feel through the screen the Stanley Kubrick influence.
You could.
Yeah. It was like the exact same feeling that I got with It Follows, where, like, that movie I felt, oh, this guy or girl, I don't know who directed It Follows, sadly. I'm a shill, I'm a fraud. But with that movie, I was like, oh, this person, I really can tell that they were inspired by John Carpenter. And then with The Witch, I could feel, I know The Witch was directed by a guy, so he was definitely inspired by Stanley Kubrick. A lot of like wide, long zooms and dollies and slow camera movement. What are your thoughts on this, on The Witch? Yeah.
I was gonna say, the first time I actually had to rewatch it, because the first time I watched it, I liked it, but I wasn't sure exactly if I loved it. But I don't know how to explain it. Like, I was watching it and something lost me, and I have no idea where that came from or how it came to be. So I said, all right, maybe something's wrong. Let me just rewatch this. And I rewatched it and I loved it. But I didn't hate it the first time. I enjoyed it. Is there like a way to word that better?
I don't know. There's just some. I don't know if there is a way to word that. Sometimes there's like movies where you're like, oh, I don't know how I feel about it the first time, and then like you rewatch it and you're like, holy shit, I love this movie. I don't know.
What's funny is that when you said Stanley Kubrick,
for me,
that's the filmmaker I was thinking in the back of my head, but I wasn't 100% sure if they were trying to do something in Kubrick's fashion. Like there was there's a point in the movie where I'm like, that's very much kind of like The Shining.
Yeah, like
more like the ending.
Oh, definitely the ending. Yeah.
Yeah.
It has that kind of like is time repeating itself kind of ending. Yeah. It has that kind of like The Shining, very much so.
But I would have to say I really enjoyed it more the second time around than I did with the first. It's definitely not what I expected from the cover, from the poster.
Oh my god, the poster makes it look like it's a typical, like, shitty, through the factory horror film.
Because, like, you know what it was? I think that's maybe what I was expecting. I was expecting it to be some sort of, like, whatever kind of movie.
Because, yeah, like if you're thinking of, like, typical horror that's, like, churned out through the machine, you think of like demons and devil. So like, and the poster is literally just
The Purge.
It's just a lamb, right, or a goat.
Basically, many Blumhouse films.
Yeah, it's just a goat, right, and then the words "The Witch" over black. So it's like, oh, that just looks like a typical shitty.
See, what is that poster supposed to mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's the problem I have with it. It's not a good poster.
I guess I'm like just thinking like in just comparison to the movie we talked about before, Hereditary's poster, where that's like just a creepy looking like family portrait. That poster.
Yeah, and I actually really like that poster.
It's yeah, like that one you felt like it was really creative, but like this one it was just like, oh, this poster looks like it's a fucking.
It kind of looked like an uninspired graphic design student's last minute effort.
We're talking more about the poster than the movie.
Yeah, I know. Like, it's something I needed to.
I know you're
bothering me.
Well, you're talking about it because it correlates to your expectation, right? What you expected versus what you got.
And what I got was totally different from the poster.
Yeah. Like, there's like almost no jump scares in the movie. Actually, now I think about it.
There was one that got me. That's because I was kind of like, yeah, she's walking, doing her thing.
Well, I mean, like, it's more so about genuine horror than, like, jump scares. Actually...
It's not really... If you don't expect... it's one of those jump scares that just kind of came out of nowhere for me. Because, do you know what scene I'm talking about? The mother literally jumps at her daughter with, like, a knife as she's walking to, like...
Oh, yeah.
Get or something. It's just, like... I had my volume up. Kind of just made me jolt.
Oh, yeah. Now I'm thinking about it. Isn't this the girl from Split in...
Anya Taylor-Joy?
In The Witch? Yeah.
Yeah.
She's from...
And I actually really like her as an actress.
Oh, yeah. She was also in Thoroughbreds.
Yeah.
I didn't get the chance to see that, but I really want to.
Like, I haven't seen her in much, but I know
She looks
her
she's
filmography.
good though.
Yeah, she has a lot of potential.
She's fantastic.
Yeah.
One small touch I liked about this movie is the old English. It added this like sense of authenticity where it's like you really felt the dread. I don't know, cause I guess I felt it more so because I'm kind of fascinated with history, and I don't.
Same.
And like when I watch movies that are set in historical periods and they're speaking perfect modern day English, it
drives you nuts.
yeah, it does drive you nuts, but it also like takes away a little bit from the immersiveness of it, like getting in the investment in it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It adds like a little too much fantasy for me. I guess it's just because I'm a little bit of a history buff, but this one though, it's a really good one. About the psychological meltdown.
Just fuck the poster.
Oh yeah, fuck the poster. It's about the psychological meltdown of a family and how they tear each other apart, and it's really well done.
And there's no goat.
Actually, I think the name of the movie, The Witch, it's actually kind of like this movie is pretty much a small scale of The Crucible. The Crucible on a smaller scale, if you think about it. Yeah, if you want a small scale Crucible with a way darker tone, and an actual witch. Check out The Witch.
That is not over the top 24/7.
Wow.
I will not.
Because it is my name!
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Seriously, think about
yeah,
it.
I've seen the original, the one with Daniel Day-Lewis.
But even the play was over the top. Anyway,
check it out. The Witch is really good. So
yeah, it was really good.
The next movie, I saw Beautiful Boy.
There are moments that I look at him and I wonder who he is.
How's our boy, David?
I'm not giving up now.
Never.
It's you.
You always gotta be controlling everything. It doesn't make any sense. You're controlling me right now!
It's you.
Let us help you.
I don't want your help. Don't you understand that?
I don't really have much to say about it. It's very depressing. By the end of the movie, you'll feel down, and you will not really want to do anything. It's fucking depressing.
I know it was based on a really good book.
It was based on a book and a true story.
Yeah, I actually think my mother read it. She reads a lot of books.
It's sad. And Steve Carell is really good in it.
I was gonna ask about his performance because I you're so used to seeing him in comedic roles.
Yeah. Well, actually, as of recently, he's been going more dramatic.
Yeah, but
it's kind of surprising though, because he's in his late 40s, and now he's doing dramatic roles.
Like that.
Well, he looks like he's in his 40s.
I like that though, because it's interesting to see what else he can do as an actor. Because I got really tired.
Well, I'll say I like that he's doing dramatic roles, because I kind of get this feeling with the other big comedic actors like Will Ferrell or Seth Rogen. I want to see what they can do other than comedy and shit like that.
Yeah, because I'm even thinking of comedians like Adam Sandler. They did it. What was that movie? Punch Drunk Love.
Punch Drunk Love.
With
oh yeah.
Anderson, I
know
believe.
what you're talking about. That's the Adam Sandler one, right?
Yeah, and I really liked it actually because it was him doing a more dramatic role, and it was something different.
Adam Sandler's actually really underrated when it comes to dramatic roles. He just never did enough of them.
A really good dramatic role.
Yeah, I don't know why, dude.
He's there for the money.
Oh,
and
I know, dude.
Jokes.
This is making me sad now. Adam Sandler, now I'm thinking about it. If he was just sticking to good dramatic scripts, he would be a great actor. But he's so bad at comedy. I'm sorry, people out there who are Adam Sandler fans, but I think he's really bad at comedy.
The thing about Adam Sandler is that I think it only really worked It only worked because it all happened at the perfect time, the perfect place. 1996. That was a transitional period for a lot of comedies and stuff like that. It was just one of those right place, right time things for films like Happy Gilmore and stuff like that. No other film at least from what I've seen, has worked like that because it was only one of those once in a lifetime kind of things.
All right, let's get back from this Adam
Anyway,
Sandler
I'm
tangent.
sorry for going on my rant.
But yeah, like Steve Carell, he's really good in this. The movie's about drug addiction and how it pretty much ruins your life. And one of my criticisms of the film is that it feels a little bit too much at times like it's a string of montages rather than like scenes. Like I feel like there was like 7 montages in this movie.
Have you seen the movie Into the Wild before I ask my next question?
Into the Wild, no.
Okay, I was gonna ask if it has like a similar approach, but whatever.
Alright, but yeah, this movie, it feels like a lot of montages that with sad music playing. There are some emotional scenes and it does have payoff. Like, it does have satisfying payoff, but it just felt like at times it was less scenes and more so montages. I feel like I repeated myself 3 times, but yeah, it's still a good film though. And as I said before, don't anticipate to be in a good mood after you're done watching it. All right, what was our third film we saw, Sean?
Third film that we saw, A Ghost Story.
When I was little, we used to move all the time. I would write these notes, and I would fold them up really small, and I would hide them.
What'd they say?
They were just like things I wanted to remember, so that if I ever wanted to go back, there'd be a piece of me there waiting.
I'm a little conflicted.
Oh, you're conflicted. Okay, this is good.
I liked it, but more on a visual level.
Okay.
What about you?
This is the type of movie that even diehard film fans are gonna be like hit or miss on, I would say.
Yeah.
Like, even if you're like a hardcore film student or you're like a 70-year-old film critic, I feel like regardless of where you are on the spectrum, you're on the spectrum of like hardcore film lover, no matter where you are there, it's gonna be divisive. And I feel like this movie is beautifully shot in terms of composition. I love that it's 4x. Is it 4x3?
4x3 with a rounded border on it to make it more like a 1920s silent film.
Oh, that actually makes sense because it is very
Which
visual.
I really liked.
Yeah, it is an incredibly visual movie, and I
It looked really nice.
I
on
feel
my
like
big
the
TV.
4x3 it definitely adds an intimacy to it.
Yeah.
Because it is a very intimate story.
What it reminds me of is like a Polaroid photo. You know, with the kind of, you know, rounded borders and stuff like that they were trying to do.
Oh yeah.
Because it kind of feels like watching this movie. It's like a moving photo book film. Duh. But I mean, like, you know, you look at a photo book, you know, of like pictures of like your family and stuff like that from the past. Sort of tells a story.
Oh,
I sort of
yeah,
feel like
you're
this
right.
film was that, but put the film.
Yeah.
And I really liked it, but I think it would have worked better as more of a short film rather than a full 2-hour film.
Well, I feel like we always forget to just give a brief explanation of the movie. So basically, this movie
needs it.
Casey Affleck and Rooney Mara, they move into a house together, but Casey Affleck tragically dies, and then he's a ghost and he's roaming the earth, and it's basically about him. And that's not a spoiler. That's like the first like 5 minutes of the movie. It's like
basically the whole thing is seeing, you know, what happens after he dies.
Yes, basically.
There is this weird. This is kind of a spoiler, I guess. So
It's
you can just
fine.
put a warning there if you want. But he goes back in time after he like jumps off a building.
Oh. Well, I think that part. You can write like 20 papers about this movie.
Yeah.
What it means to you.
It's so interpretive.
Yeah, it's very interpretive. I think it's more so to do with like the movie's about time, right?
Yeah.
Which is like I'll say I think we both have this criticism of it is that there's a scene where a hippie character is at a table and and they're all
He kind
talking
of
about.
explains
He
what
like
the movie's about.
he explains what the movie's about pretty much. Like yeah, it's pretty much the whole scene. He explains what the movie's about to the audience, but it's not blatant. Well, actually, it is blatant because it's like the only.
No, it's pretty blatant.
Yeah, it is. Actually, now that I think about it, yeah, it is pretty blatant because it's like the only dialogue-heavy scene in the whole film. So yeah, it is.
It's funny because it is okay. I'm very conflicted about that scene because for one thing, it's kind of stupid.
It is
because I would kind of like
agree
to
with
figure that
It
out
is
on my own.
stupid, yeah.
But at the same time, the way the dialogue was worded and stuff like that, I was actually very intrigued.
Yeah, and the performance by the guy who's doing it, it's very magnetic.
Yeah, like while like everything in that scene is great, I feel like you could have cut that out, and you could have expressed that message through the visuals and stuff like that.
Yeah, because the visuals were so good in the movie. I will say this one, like, I know I said it for First Man, but for this one definitely, I really do not know if you'll see this movie more than once.
This is one of those films where I think
it's more so one of those movies where if you're studying film, I'd recommend just watching it once because it's good to learn about these types of movies. And
it's one of those films that's great to watch, interpret, not watch it again, and maybe talk about it with somebody else who might have a different point of view.
It's one of those films to learn from, I'd say.
Yeah.
I appreciate
it's something you
the
would
vision.
write an essay on.
Yes. I appreciate the vision of the director, definitely though too. Absolutely.
He's doing a new film.
Yeah.
Like Lighthouse or something like that. I'd be very intrigued to see what he does. You know, differently from this film.
It's a very. I would say for an hour and 20. It feels long, but.
Yeah. Was it only an hour 20 minutes?
Yeah, it was only an hour 20 minutes.
It felt longer.
It did feel longer, but I think I honestly, I like now I'm thinking about it. I think that is intentional because considering the theme of the movie, like it does have these very long shots of him like walking or like him like exploring the house. It's very timed.
There was a funny review I read on I think it was either IMDb or Amazon where the guy literally wrote, "This is a movie about a ghost walking for an hour and a half."
I would not disagree with that assessment. Choose to watch this movie on your like I recommend it if you're a hardcore film fan. If you're a hardcore film fan, then I definitely recommend it because this is one where you can learn from it and appreciate a director's vision. But
it's one of those films. I've said this before, but I liked it, but I'm never gonna watch it again because I feel no need to, unless I'm dying.
Now, if you're on the lowest spectrum of film fan, where you're like 40-year-old middle class construction worker that loves action movies, do not watch this movie. Well, no, I know a lot of people in my family. They're like just hardworking, like older dudes who just love movies, but I know they would hate this movie. So.
I was thinking of like the stereotypical like Michael Bay audience. Look at the Megan Fox.
Okay, what's the next film? It's me.
Those are the ones that we
It's me.
watched.
Wait. It's
what was the last film you watched? The last two films you watched?
So I'll save the one that I loved for last. So I saw Widows.
He left me the plans for his next job. All I need is a crew to pull it off.
Why should we trust you anyway?
Because I'm the only one standing between you and a bullet in your head.
That was the most recent. Well, no, before Nocturnal Animals, that was the most recent one I've seen. So this movie, it was written by the girl who wrote Gone Girl, the film.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I love
Gone Girl was fantastic. I love Gone Girl.
David Fincher, fantastic. Anyway.
But this movie, it is about basically a heist goes wrong, all these guys die, and then their wives are left in the fallout, and one of the wives' husbands left the plans for the last job to her, and they decide to go through with it. The wives, that is. So it's called Widows. And So the movie, I think, is great, but the climax, I think, is boring and terrible. And I'm a little conflicted on the message of the movie, I guess. Like
you were talking to me about this the other night, and what I got from what you were saying was not really that good.
Well, alright.
I'm talking about the ending and the message, but
yeah. So
I haven't seen it, but
all right. This is I'll give a spoiler warning because I feel like it's warranted.
You should probably just put it in the beginning.
Yeah, I'll just put it in the beginning. So basically in the movie, the girls, they go through with the heist and it goes perfectly. It goes according to plan. All the girls get out alive. No one's fatally injured or killed, or no one gets caught by the police. They get away with like $9 million, and they're all fine, and it's happy ending. And like, I don't know, when I think of a heist movie, I feel like it's supposed to show how unsustainable that lifestyle is.
Yeah.
And not glorify it, or like, if you know what I mean.
Not even really just heist films itself, but just, I think a lot of crime films.
Yeah, a lot of crime films just show
like,
that.
I'm thinking specifically like Scarface.
Oh yeah, Scarface is a great example.
Rises to the top and then just fucking dies. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
For a 40-year-old film.
And like, and smaller things in the movie. What were you gonna say?
The main thing I'm getting from you is that, you know, I've seen this in a lot of films actually, that characters just get away with shit.
What do you mean?
Because you're saying at the end of this film, you know, they just kind of get away with all the money and they're scot-free, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
I feel like a lot of films are going in that direction, where characters, there's no sort of responsibility or any sort of consequence.
Which I don't understand.
It's hard for me to explain at the moment because my brain is fried, but
yeah.
I'll probably explain to you later in better wording.
It's I guess one of my smaller, that's my biggest complaint, mainly the climax and the odd message, but some of the
kids, if you wanna get $9 million, plan a heist with your friends, and then you can get away with $9 million.
Get away perfectly. No police, no nothing.
Not as much money as that lottery winner, but you know.
But my other criticisms would be it definitely has a little bit of political sleight of hand, if you know what I mean. Where you know what side of the aisle the filmmakers are on, and they like make very subtle jabs, if you know what I mean, at the other side.
Is it really subtle though?
It's very subtle, but like if you'll pick up on it if you follow politics in any way, you'll notice it. Like if you're just oblivious to the news and you don't really like listen to anything political, you don't really vote, like you won't, it'll go right over your head. But I'm very into like politics and like reading into all that shit. But like it's there, you can see it. It's subtle though. It's subtle, but the reason I complain about it is because like regardless of what side you're on, I don't feel any filmmaker should attack their audience regardless of what side they're on.
Even if it's subtle.
Yeah, even if it's subtle. So yeah, but regardless, I think it's a good film, especially on the character and writing. Character development. Viola Davis, she's fantastic as always. Yeah, Viola Davis, she's probably one of the best actresses working today. Like,
oh yeah, she's great.
She's probably like in my top 5. Like, if I had to say top 5 female actresses, she might even be number 1. I think she's awesome.
Yep.
Michelle Rodriguez is in it. Eh. She's how I feel always about her. She's eh.
Like, not terrible, but not great either.
Not terrible, not great.
It does her job.
Yeah, Liam Neeson, he's okay. in it. I thought he quit. I thought.
In it.
Yeah, I thought he quit action movies. Didn't he say he quit action movies? He's in this though.
He's probably gonna do another like Taken film. What is it? Taken 20
Oh,
now.
standout in Widows is Daniel Kaluuya from Get Out.
Oh, really? He's in it?
Yes, he's in this movie. He is he's a little gem. Like, he is so good in this. He doesn't get a lot, but he's really good in this movie. He's a little like bright spot in this. But yeah, it's a really good movie. Colin Farrell too. He's good. He's in this, and he plays a corrupt politician. He's good in it. But yeah, that's Widows for you. And the last movie I just saw that I loved was Nocturnal Animals.
My ex-husband used to call me a nocturnal animal.
I didn't know you had an ex-husband.
I've been thinking about him a lot lately. And then recently he sent me this book that he's written. It's violent and it's sad. And he dedicated it to me.
Which was Amy Adams and Jake Gyllenhaal mainly. And holy fuck, this movie had me tearing up a little bit. So it's about Amy Adams. She's like this successful person. They don't really disclose. Oh wait, no, yeah, I think she sells art. So, and
Hereditary, anybody? No, I'm just kidding.
and she gets a package in the mail from Jake Gyllenhaal. It's his book. It's called Nocturnal Animals, and he wrote it for her. And I don't want to spoil anything because it's such a good movie, but it's
one of those films where you don't really want to say anything.
I don't want to say much. I do want to say about the cinematography in it. So like I know we kind of, I feel like in my mind, if I was a fan of our channel, I feel like these guys in my head would be like, oh, they always say it was shot like they love the cinematography. All right. I don't know.
Snob is in the name.
Yeah, no, okay. But I feel like I want to explain.
Sorry about that.
I want to
It sounded way ruder than I wanted it to be.
I want to explain the cinematography though in this film, why I loved it so much. So like, they do a really great thing with the production design and the color in this. So like whenever she's reading the book, because like the book parts of the movie, they actually film those scenes as if they're scenes, but you know they're taking place in the book. Those are like blue. No, those are orange. Those are like have an orange tone, and then everything with Amy Adams in real life is like bluish. And
as sort of like a contrast.
Yeah, they have that contrast, but then they have like more subtle stuff. Like they have like like flashbacks where Amy Adams is with Jake Gyllenhaal in like the past, and like her hair is all like wavy and like loose, and like she's wearing like free clothes, like expressive clothing. And then like in the future, when she's like this successful like alone person, it's very sterile. Like she lives in like one of those very modern like geometric houses where it's like everything's square and sleek, and like her hair is like pinned straight. It's boring. Like it's intentionally boring looking, if you know what I mean. It was like this very subtle way.
Does it kind of look like that episode of Black Mirror? The really pretentious one that people like for some reason that we watched.
Yeah.
Our courses actually. Sorry.
Actually, no. It looked more rich than that. Like that one was like bland. But I know what you're getting at.
A bland episode.
Yeah, I know what you're getting at, but it was the way they made this look. It was a very subtle way of hinting at the status of the character throughout different periods of time through the production design and the way that they used color and shot composition. But yeah, it's a very psychologically violent movie. Like it's disturbing, to be honest. Like just it's disturbing. It's a good movie. That might be one of the best movies I've seen in the past 5 years. If you want to take anything away from this, if you want to take anything away from this quick take where we talked about 7 films, definitely see Nocturnal Animals if you haven't seen it. If you've even watched to the, if you've watched to the end of the video, this long ass video, check out Nocturnal Animals if nothing else.
Alright, dumb question, because I'm ill-informed. Did you watch this at home, or is it still in theaters?
I watched it at home.
Oh, okay.
This is I think this movie came out a year ago, I think.
Oh, was it a year ago?
Or a couple. I think it was a couple years ago, actually. This is one of those. It was pretty recent, but not like this year.
Alright.
Yeah. Check out Nocturnal Animals. So, this has been Some Film Snobs. I'm Jacob Ramos.
I'm Sean Reinert. And this has been Quick
Take, episode 2, after 2 months.
And cut. If you enjoy our content, then please consider supporting Some Film Snobs on Patreon. Thank you.